Believe how hot the tea is still, so I'm gonna have to crack open the water bottle. What is up, guys? I apologize that this video is late. I have been so busy between work, being sick, and school. I haven't really had time to keep these going. So I have like 4 scripts ready to go. I don't know how many I'm gonna get done today. I was gonna put a bunch of these on tomorrow. It's my first Saturday off in like I don't know how long. And so I'm like, yeah, let's put out a bunch of YouTube videos. But, it's Friday, and we're going to put some videos out today, and then I'm going to try and play some Paladins, and I might have a stream up of some Paladins play. Just for an itinerary, we're going to get the Pip champion profile. That's going to be done today. That's this video. Ruckus, that's either going to be tonight or tomorrow. I might get Seris done. If I don't get Seris done, it is because I decided to do 2 Dead by Daylight videos instead of 1. I have a Dead by Daylight video that I don't want to spoil, and there is actually a Future of Paladins one, because everybody's doing the state of Paladins and the future of Paladins and all that shit. And I want to talk about some of the changes that are coming, because I don't think a lot of people really understand what it means from a numbers perspective, where I'm a numbers guy. That's the whole point of these builds. And the whole point of all of this is to crunch down on numbers. But looking at Pip, we're gonna look at Pip today. Pip is, in my opinion, the worst support in the game. And I want to mention something right off the bat. Turn that off. This is actually my damage gun, by the way. I've been running a lot of Catalyst Pip, because there's a Battle Pass challenge to get top play with Pip. You can tell what what card I'm running by what gun I bring, for the most part. I'm weird like that. Just you'll have to roll with me. But this is the thing that I think is very important to know. If you look at all the supports in the game, so you would classify Grover as a hybrid between a burst and a duration. Grok and Genos are duration healers. Ying is a duration healer. She is a burst on life exchange. Pip is burst. Furia is burst and duration. Damba is a duration. Seris is a duration. They have a bit of burst heal, but it is still technically a duration heal. But of your burst healers, we're going to call Furia, Pip, and Grover your big burst healers, right? Pip is at a complete disadvantage to the other 2 because he's the only one that his primary healing ability...
Here's the catalyst!
That's it. Now, this is what makes Pip weak, in my opinion. If you miss that ability right there, it's wasted. Your only healing ability is wasted. And on top of that, another thing that I think is very important to note is if an ally runs away from the heal, they've not only wasted their healing opportunity, you've now wasted your cooldown. And it's very important to understand how Pip works as a champion. And I want to look, normally, you know, we look at like base kit and stuff like that. Well, here it is. It's nothing really impressive. Now let me explain. So you have a primary grenade launcher here that does 600 damage a shot. It fires 1 shot every second. It's a decent rate of fire. It does a good amount of damage. Slight knockback. You have your explosive flask, which that deals 150 damage and it slows targets. Nothing really impressive until you buff it. You more often than not, you're going to use your slow so that you can slow a target down and guarantee follow-up shots rather than anything else. You have a healing potion. Now this is the problem here. Your healing potion is literally just chucked out.
Here's the catalyst!
You chuck it out. If it hits them, it heals them. If it doesn't, you've wasted it. And it has a lengthy ass cooldown on it, and it kind of screws you over. And then you have your weightless, which is your movement ability, which lets you just jump around. Okay. And then there's the ult, which turns people into a radius into chickens. But here's the thing. So that's your brief overview on how it works. Let us take a look, however, at changing your loadout. So these are the options. Now, Mischief, in my opinion, is the worst card. Let's get that out the way now. Mischief is bad because of the fact that you have to realize hits with your weapon reduce the cooldown of all other skills by 1 second. In theory, that is a great card. If that was a loadout card instead of a legendary card, I think that would be better, where it would scale up in 0.2-second intervals. Similar to how Moji has a card where you generate ult charge every time you detonate a magic mark. So every time you hit your L2, you basically charge your ult that much faster. Like, you get bonus charge on top of that. If that's what it was similar to, it would be great. Here's the problem. It adds, basically, you have to realize that every weapon shot you hit just takes an extra second off of your cooldown. And we're gonna run this. I'm just gonna pick a build right here just to show this off. So, I'll do explosive blast the wall and heal. Now, the value is that you can basically cut your cooldown in half with it. The problem is how slow the projectile fires. If you're trying to use it to buff your healing, you're just taking an extra tick off. It's nothing to write home about. If you are a good pit player, you don't really need that. To be honest, I think Mischief is more of a crutch card for somebody that's new. If you want to get good with managing your cooldowns, and you want to practice managing your cooldowns and working on cooldown reduction builds, Mischief is the best card in the game for you, because it rewards your good aim as a player with your cooldowns. But this is a card that's better as a loadout card, like a Tyra Primal Might, or a Leon Inheritance. They're better cards because what they do is, when you get an elimination, that's a kill or an assist, it grants you, it cuts your cooldown in half. This only reduces the cooldown by a second, but it's every time you hit your shot. But you have to realize you have to factor in two factors. One, you have a fire rate of 1 shot per second, and 2, the actual projectile hitting the target, both the flight speed and if the target moves. So you can't just say that every time you fire your gun, you're automatically going to get a hit and you're going to reduce your cooldown. You can't say, I've got a 4-second cooldown on my heals, because you don't. It's only if you hit your shots. If you have a bad game and you can't hit your shots, Mischief is useless to you. And it doesn't affect your Explosive Flask. If it worked with Explosive Flask, it's like any shot from your potion launcher, your ult, your Explosive Flask, anything like that, reduced the cooldown, that would be better. The next best card is Combat Medic. And Combat Medic is a bit interesting. It's very similar to the Grok card, where he can fire at allies and heal them instead. Now, this card is a bit better. I have this as the build right here. So it has 35% reload speed in, so that's basically Deftance 2. Sturdy is a staple of my build. It's on every blaster that I can run it on. Okay, my weapon is designed to kill enemies, not me. I'm not going to run that card. And then the other ones are kind of fillers, but they're like required fillers if you're playing a healer. This is a healing build. Now, the way you can still damage people with that. Don't get me wrong. This heals him, though.
I feel stronger, healer.
How long can we keep Nando alive with our healing abilities? The reload speed on this build really helps.
Here's the catalyst.
This is gonna go on. Oh my god. We're fighting here.
Not quite yet.
We're fighting to keep Nando alive. Come on, Nando. He's not gonna make it. No! That did go on for an awfully long time, though. However, name a Cassie that doesn't have Cauterize. Or the Blast Shot card for Cauterize. Name a Fernando that sits there like that, and is only taking damage from one source. Name a flank that will just let me sit here and shoot him. That is the most unrealistic game scenario. I just want to see how long I could go. But you will eventually get drained out. Now, the advantage to this is that you are going to be able to simultaneously heal and damage. if enemies are in close range to Fernando, you will be able to do that.
Gracias for the healing.
It does not affect your explosive flash, which is a bit of a disappointment. The key to the build is really the reload speed. The 35% reload speed there, which is basically just short of Deft Hands 2. That is really nice because Pip has one of the longest reload times in the game. The disadvantage to this build is you sacrifice a lot of your damage. And Pip is one of the harder hitting in the support class in terms of damage. It's a nice trade-off to give you a secondary heal. But one of the things you realize when you crunch the numbers is Mega Potion is still better. If you really think about it, you have to realize you do 600 healing per shot and a 1200 potion. So that means that it will to do the effect of one Mega Potion, you have to take an extra 3 seconds because you have to fire 2 shots. And I call every Pip shot I call as a second and a half. I do not call it 1 second. So it's basically does Mega Potion's job, but it doesn't do it as well. The value is that if you have a hard time hitting healing potions, but you have an easy job hitting your target, you can very easily run this card and heal at long range like this, rather than having to worry about that being too short or something like that. That was actually a dead-on talk. But the chances are you're not going to be able to hit that. So now we have your next thing that we're going to look at, and this is Catalyst Pip. Catalyst Pip is the card that causes so much controversy. It's between Mega Potion and Catalyst. And we'll actually look at Mega Potion first. I'm sorry, let's look at Mega Potion. Because I think it's important to know. Mega Potion Pip is how you want to play him as a healer. Catalyst Pip is how you want to play him as a damage, and the other two are kind of silly. Combat Medic has its uses, Mischief is better for newer players, but these are what you really want to play. So Mega Potion, Healing Potion heals allies for 100% more. This is the second highest healing ability in the game, second to a Furia, Solar Blessing. Okay. So this is the build that we go with for this. So you have Sturdy is the staple. And now Reload is an interesting card. I want to sidetrack for a second. Reload is interesting because it is entirely useless at tier 3. You have to realize you have an 8-second cooldown. Let's round this to 2.5 seconds. If you hit 3 people, that's 7.5 seconds. That is a reset right there. If you have that at tier 5, that means that you take 9 seconds off of the cooldown of an 8-second ability. You are wasting that point. If you hit 2 allies, it's 6 seconds. If you hit 2 allies at tier 4, it's 5 seconds. If you hit two allies at tier 5, it's 6 seconds. So it's the difference between a second. It's literally the difference between 1 second in every case. So it's not worth it. You are better off with increasing the radius. Take that extra point, increase the radius of your potion so you can actually hit a larger radius. But this is the problem. This build is entirely built around healing. I want to actually heal as Pip and do good and have a good game healing on Pip. You know what my problem is? These are the cards I have to pick. Moxie's an incredibly strong sustain card on Pip, but I mean, I just can't put points into it because of the fact that I have to spend so much points into Medicinal Excellence and Reload. Gift Giver's good, and this is the other problem that I have with Pip. I think this is important to note. You can, on all of your long cooldown abilities in the game. I punched the wrong button, damn it. Here we go. So what characters have long cooldowns? Well, Grover has a 10-second cooldown. He has a loadout card that can drop that down to 8, and he can buy your Chronos and drop it down to 6. You have Grok. He's got 10-second cooldown. Well, the difference on Grok, or 15-second. You can drop it by 5 seconds every time you activate Ghost Walk. So if you literally just save Ghost Walk to reduce the cooldown on your totem, you can call that 10-second cooldown. And you can increase the duration up to 9 seconds potentially. So if you're running the 9-second totem without the 5 seconds, that's a 6-second cooldown, and you can buy Chronos to make it less. Or you can run the Ghost Walk build and have a 10-second cooldown and buy Chronos and have increased duration. It's up to you. And also Grok heals for a much larger area than Pip does. You have Genos with an 8-second cooldown, but he can drop that down to 6 with loadout cards and 4 with Chronos at a high enough level. Ying doesn't have long cooldowns. I'm sorry, if you're 6 seconds or more, that's not really a lot. Furia's primary heal is what we're talking about. We're not going to talk about the alternate heal, the Solar Blessing. That's meant to be more of like a heal everybody. Damba's a short heal, Saris is a short heal. Damba's Gourd, if you say, well, that's an AoE, why aren't you counting that? Again, it's not his primary heal. It's not a healing only. You can use the Gourd for damage. So again, it's like Furia. Now, again, as well, you can drop that cooldown to 8 seconds, and there's a legendary card that lets you reset the cooldown 50% of the time. So no. Pip has the longest cooldown in the game. Because there's two things to consider. You go up against a Death and Tax with Leon, you could have all the cooldown reset in the world. You could run a 4-second cooldown on Pip. But if every time you are healing them, Leon is Death and Taxing, Degos un Taxis, around the map, you're not doing any healing and you're wasting your only healing ability. I think that's important to note. You are so heavily countered by tier 3 Cauterize, it's not even funny. Mega Potion heals 240 against Caut 3. Kill to heal 1 heals 300. That's what you do. You facepalm. And you shake your head and you shrug your shoulders and you walk away. Because there's not a lot you can do in that scenario. Okay, the heat is on in here and I really don't like it because I'm trying to get this tea to cool down a little bit more. So, sorry about that. Anyways. Back to the topic at hand. Pip. Mega Potion Pip is great. You reset the cooldown a lot the more people that you hit. And you have a nice increase on the radius to it. The problem really becomes you don't have a lot in the way of damage or escape. I do have a build. I'm going to pick it here just to show it off. Mega Potion with... This is a bounce build. So this is additional jump speed in weightless. It's not really great. It just lets me bounce around a lot. I missed that. It just makes me jump faster. It's not really great. It's not meant for healing or anything. But Mega Potion it's your strongest card, but it's just not great because of the fact that it's too easy to counter. See, Pip is a high-level character, in that he requires a lot of work to play in his designated role, but he does very well. If you're not buying Cauterize, that heals any character that's not a tank to full health, instantly. And it forces the enemy team really to buy Cauterize to deal with that kind of healing. The other problem, too, with the card is, if you look at Reload, with the way Reload is set up, it's just not great because there's a 5-second cooldown on that. So even if you hit 3 people with this card, and you're able to get a full reset, you then have a 8-second cooldown before you can use your potion again. So you can get 2 heals off in short succession, but then you have to wait through this long cooldown before you can get another heal out. And there is a 5-second timer on the card. Now that works to your advantage if you think about it. Because look at this. So we're going to chuck the heal. It's a 6-second cooldown. Which means I could potentially, if I don't, the card is, that loadout card isn't going to go on cooldown if a situation arises where now they're all grouped up, now I hit them, let's say it's not on cooldown, let's say that's me popping out another heal, now the card goes on cooldown, as opposed to actually, so that build actually helps you learn your cooldown management better than Mischief does, which is the funny thing about it. Mischief is such an easy noob type card that it actually doesn't help you learn how to manage your cooldowns in the long run. It's great for working your way up. It's great until you get more comfortable on builds and loadouts and legendaries. Now we talk about Catalyst, and Catalyst to me is just so annoying because it's not even annoying to go up against. It's just annoying because every Pip that I see is playing Catalyst Pip or Mega Potion. Those are your two options, and everyone says Pip is a flank. And the problem is he has incredible cards for his for the rest of his kit. So there are 3 cards right here that are key. So first off, you have Graviton. So that increases the duration of your explosive flash slow by 1 second. That gives you a 4-second slow. That means that you now have 4 seconds where you deal bonus damage. Remember, you do fire a shot once per second. So technically you have 4 shots. And you deal 850 some odd damage per shot on this. So you're dealing close to 1,000 damage a shot. You reduce your cooldown by 2.4 seconds. We'll call that 2.5 seconds. Which means 2.5 seconds minus 5 seconds. Wait, is it 5 or 8? I don't know if it's 5 or 8. I know it takes it down to about... I think it's at 8 seconds that it takes it down to 5 seconds. But 5 seconds, and it lasts for 4 seconds. So you can constantly have one target coated in Catalyst Q. And then Smithereens is a nice card because it basically guarantees you will always have one in the chamber so that you can at least confirm something, that you're not wasting your explosive flash. Medicinal Excellence is just there so that... It's not there so that I heal more, it's just there so I have a bigger radius on it. Because a lot of people like to run away. Like, I cannot heal any highly mobile character on Pip. Like, Leon's, when I'm playing Pip, I'm just give him the middle finger. Like, seriously. Because they slide away from where I'm going to throw the healing potion. And if I try and throw the healing potion where I think they're going to slide to, no, they go the other way. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother healing you. You're on your own. And we will take advantage of this right here. This is right here. 840.
Double kill.
Believe the hype.
That's 7 in a row. Double kill.
That's pretty effective. Now, Catalyst does become very powerful when you combo it with this.
This interesting.
That's 9 in a row.
Your ult is also a bit of a weakness to you, if you think about it, because of the fact that your ult restores the enemy to a certain health. So, as an example right here. If I ult the Skye right here, she goes back up to 1500 health. I don't want that to happen. Whereas if I ult the tank over here right now, there's the advantage, is it puts him under that.
Talk about a chain reaction.
It makes it go down. It makes it go down. And then they go back to base health. Now, there's a trick here. It goes down, they go back to their base health. If their health was more than 1500, they go back to their original health. If their health was less than 1500, they go back to 1500. So Fernando here, if he was at, like 600 and I ulted him, but I don't damage him at all, he stays at 1500 health when he comes out of my chicken ult. And really the problem with his ult as well is it requires you to work with your team. And if you have a team that is either AFK, if you're alone, then you should not be using your ult. But there are certain situations where you have to ult. Like if you're trying to contest, you need to just weightless into the point, Geronimo, and blast your ult. Let's say that was your ult. And just absolutely try and go to town on them to contest and distract and annoy long enough for your team to come in and bail you out. You're not going to do anything unless you're running Catalyst. And that's really the problem, is his kit is better suited for Catalyst than is anything else. Which is a shame. And now there are a lot of people that say, oh, well, Pip's the flank. Pip is not a damage, or Pip is not a healer. And I think those people are wrong. Like, Pip has the potential to do healing. I've gotten into it with people before where they send me screenshots of them doing like 250,000 damage on Pip, and I'll send them screenshots of me doing 250,000 healing on Pip. And I want to say, if I can play Catalyst Pip, but my thing is, healing Pip is much more effective. Why would I play a Catalyst Pip when a healing Pip benefits my team more? And there are other cards as loadout I'm not talking about, like the movement speed, where you can give 50% movement speed to allies hit by Mega Potion. Problem with that, it only lasts for a second and a half. What the fuck? What's the point? Items real quick. Pretty much anything out of these 3 categories. Again, these are always situational. These are all good choices, depending on the team comp. This, not so much, better off buying Haven. Looking at utility, interesting choices here. I cannot recommend Master Rider on him. Now, for most supports I can, but for him I don't, because you can weightless onto the point, and that gives you some high ground advantage, while you're going onto the point, I wouldn't recommend that. Morale boost and Chronos are really what you want to go. If you're running reload at a higher level, I would recommend morale boost. If you're not running reload at a higher level, like 3 or up, I would even say 4 or 5. If you're not running at 4 or 5, you pretty much want to get Chronos. I'm not really a big fan of getting Chronos on top of it, because I don't think they stack very well. Realistically, with Chronos, though, you're only taking your cooldown to 6 seconds. Nimble is good if you want to play more of a flank pip. If you are going for a weightless jumpy build, if you are going for a catalyst pip build, Nimble is good to give you the extra speed, but you have to trade off with morale boost or Nimble. So that's an interesting choice. I don't really recommend Chronos because I think it is too overpriced. Like, you have the ability to work on your cooldowns in your kits. I wouldn't recommend Chronos. Kill to heal is the way to go unless you're running Catalyst. If you're running Catalyst, I recommend Life Rip. You deal almost 1,000 damage a shot. Any of those characters should get Life Rip. Kill to heal is great because as a healer, as a support, you get the benefit of the eliminations, which enable you to heal. Even Catalyst Pip, I can recommend getting Kill to heal. It's really a personal choice. If you're regular Pip, don't buy Life Rip. Please don't. Veteran, no. Rejuvenate, no, unless there's another healer. You don't get the benefit of Mega Potion. You can't heal yourself for 2,400. Now this is where things become interesting. You don't need Bulldozer. You actually do a ton of damage to deployables compared to most other characters in the game, and you're better off on Caught. Pip does really well with Wrecker, because it enables him to just sit there and constantly take down shields with a steady rate of fire. Cauterize not so much, because remember, you have a 1 second delay between shots. So if you miss a shot, Cauterize can't be applied as rapidly. That's why for slower rate of fire champions, I recommend Wrecker more than Cauterize, and leave maybe Cauterize to a Victor or a Tyra or a Talith, Moji. I'll keep naming people if you want. But anyways, Wrecker is my preferred choice. Death Hands is also not a bad choice. If you're running Combat Mech, you're going to be shooting your allies a lot. That's why you have that card there. But Death Hands, even on a Catalyst Pip or a Mega Potion Pip, is not a bad choice. You do a lot. You do have a long reload speed. So I do understand that. It is manageable. It is a manageable reload speed. By no means should you sit there and say, I've got to have reload speed. But it is helpful if you need. Few tips and tricks. 1. Do not use your explosive flask and then turn somebody into a chicken. They will carry the benefit, but the problem is the benefit of your explosive flask is that it lasts for a long time. It lasts for 4 seconds on the build that I run. Your ult lasts for 4 seconds if there's no crowd control. So let's say that this is the ult right here and turns them into chickens. This enables you to follow up and guarantee that if they don't have crowd control, you will be able to get kills. Same thing I would say on healing. You want to make sure that when you're healing, especially if you're healing from the air, that you are actually aiming where your ally is going, or if you're on mic, to communicate that they need to hold still. The worst thing in the world is for you to line up a long-range snipe heal like that and have Fernando charge over here instead. So that's pretty much it for tips and tricks. I'm going to keep the pit videos short. Usually when I script a video like this, where it's been in the can for so long, I haven't just pulled it out yet. Hardy har har. They tend to go on for way too long. So we're just going to leave it at that. Say bye-bye to Pip.